who couldn't be in a more different situation, right? Fell all the way to the 5th round in Cleveland. The expectation by most is that he won't even play. How would you describe the pressure that is on him this year?
On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to go with 8, but here's why though, Greeny. When you look at the 2026 draft, the Cleveland Browns have 2 first-round draft picks. They're probably not going to be a good football team this season as well. So for Shedeur Sanders, it's about being able to do what he needs to do in practice so he can earn the trust of the guys in the locker room and also the coaching staff so he can get on the field and show that he's the guy. So that's where my pressure comes from.
Yeah, I see it that way too. I think there's a lot of ways to look at it. What I'm about to say is something that I think is patently ridiculous. This is not my view of him at all. Every team in the NFL, all 32 of them, including the one he plays for, made it clear over the weekend of the draft they're not excited about him. So what I'm saying is, if he doesn't get his shot this year, or if he gets a limited opportunity this year and isn't able to sort of pick up that ball and run with it, I don't know that there are teams that are going to be clamoring to do it again. Here's another one that's unfair. I think the kid has a chance to be really good, but I don't know that he gets that opportunity if he doesn't demonstrate it almost immediately. You're one who sits in those seats. Yep. You see it that way?
Similarly, and here's what I'm saying to Shedeur is like, look, let me give you the answers to the test. I don't want to draft a quarterback next year. We have 2 first-round picks. Maybe we get an offensive lineman. Maybe we get a receiver. Make it our job where it's incredibly easy to say, oh, no, we got Shedeur. We're set at quarterback. Go out there and earn the job. And by the way, how many games do you have to win stats? Nobody really knows. It's about, hey, does everybody in this building have the trust and confidence that you can take us to where we want to go?
Here's what I keep hearing, though, because I'm completely on board with that. What I keep hearing is the limited number of opportunities, the limited number of snaps. They don't just have one rookie quarterback. They have 2.
Right.
Dillon Gabriel was drafted 2 rounds before Shedeur Sanders was. And they've got a couple of veterans there in place to hold down the fort, at least for the time being. So he has to do it in a very limited opportunity.
I've said it, he's on the clock. He's on the clock, and the clock is speeding up because you have 4 quarterbacks on the roster, limited amount of snaps. And, oh, by the way, as you pointed out, you were the 2nd quarterback drafted in this past draft behind Dillon Gabriel. So if you're Shedeur Sanders, you have a very small window opportunity to capitalize. That's why these, training camp practices, preseason is going to be hugely important for him.
I want to push back on something. You could go look at what Tom Brady said about when he was at Michigan, and it was dark for him, and he never transferred. He talked about, well, some days I only got 4 reps. And his mindset was, these were going to be 4 great reps. And then I got 8, and they were going to be 8 great reps. And he just invested in himself, and obviously the rest is history. And that's what I would be saying, Shedeur, go earn more reps.
Well, and I was in New England when Tom Brady was the 4th string quarterback. He came in, and he just methodically worked his way up to being Drew Bledsoe's backup, and ultimately we know how it all ended. But you got to go out there, and every snap has to be earned.
Got to cash in on every single snap that you get at the quarterback position.
And Brady, of course, has been a mentor and a close friend to the family and to Shedeur in particular. I mean, do you expect that? Do you think Shedeur Sanders will get a chance, whether it's week 1, which I think people have convinced me now is unlikely, but at some point this season, will he get a real opportunity to show he can be the starting quarterback for the Browns?
Greeny, honestly, I hope he does. I can't sit up here and say in a definitive manner that that's going to happen. I hope he does. I really do.
Me too. I'm just interested to see how it'll wind up going. One more, and D-Wood, this one is for you. Anthony Richardson, once upon a time the 4th pick in the draft. There have been a lot of bumps in the road, to say the least, for him since then. How would you describe on a scale of 1 to 10 the pressure that is on him this year?
10. It is. What we said, the block is hot for Anthony Richardson right now. You're talking about a guy who, coming out only played 13, he started 13 games at the University of Florida. He's been an off-injured quarterback. He's very gifted, but off-injured. And now you have Daniel Jones coming in. And, oh, by the way, Daniel Jones, they're paying Daniel Jones more money than Pittsburgh is paying Aaron Rodgers. So that is what Anthony Richardson is up against in training camp.
D-Wood, I think that's totally fair. I thought Chris Ballard, their GM, said something extremely prescient this week, which was the timeline about how quarterbacks develop. And maybe they play them too soon, which is something I said from day one. But you talk about Baker Mayfield, Geno Smith, Sam Darnold. They would be sick if they let this guy leave the building and then he's great someplace else. So I think what he was saying is, hey, maybe we have to be a little bit more patient going back to only the 13 starts at Florida.
And here's one reason why, if you want. Do you know how old Anthony Richardson is?
Just turned 23.
He turned 23 in May. So it's not even, he's a young 23. So he's still at the very beginning. Again, it just adds fuel to the fire of how ridiculous it was that they started him when they did, and that may have actually done damage to him that can't be undone. But that's water under the bridge. There's nothing they can do about it. Do you expect him to be the starter this year, or do you expect it to be Daniel Jones?
No, I expect it to be Anthony Richardson. You look at the upside, but also, like, look at the Colts offensive roster. It is sneaky good, right? You just need the quarterback position to be on point. And we might be talking differently about this Indianapolis Colts team. Head coach Shane Steichen, like, he's someone that's hoping that too, because he could also be on a hot seat after this season.
Oh, for sure. It's a big year in Indy. It's a division that feels a little open. Houston has had injury issues. Obviously, Jacksonville, we'll see where they are. And all the rest of it, they're down, it feels. Indianapolis, crazier things have happened than them having a good year, right?
Yeah, no question about it. To Harry's point, Jonathan Taylor and certainly Michael Pittman.
Tyler Warren, they drafted him out of Penn State.
Yeah, they have more firepower than people understand. But again, it comes back to, if it is Anthony Richardson, can he manage the position and at least cut down the turnovers and throw the ball accurately?
We'll see. There's been a lot of drama. So
throws it with touch. He throws it with the ability for the wide receiver to be able to run underneath it and also adjust mid-route. So I'm really looking for this combination to be lethal from a deep ball perspective.
That said, how soon do you want to see Jackson Dart playing quarterback for the Giants?
A month ago, after his name was announced in Green Bay, I would have said, here's the playbook. We'll see you on opening day. Look, D-Wood, you were there. With Mark Sanchez, there were no excuses. There were growing pains, and we never looked back. And to me, if I'm Brian Daboll, I am confident in my ability to develop quarterbacks. Josh Allen, amongst others. Greeny, what are we waiting for? Russell Wilson had a great career, and right now it is close to the end. He can't move the way he once did. Why not just put in Jackson Dart? No, it's not going to be perfect from day one. Let him get the ball to Malik Neighbors, amongst others, and live with those growing pains.
Put a finishing touch on it, D. Wood.
I would say I would agree with you, but I think the springtime probably told Brian Daboll he's not ready. I always say let's put the young man in when he's ready.
Get him ready. That's your job.
Well, I mean,
go coach him.
Well, you got to do it on the field.
Get him ready.
Don't you owe it to your veterans?
Let's find out. Let's see how soon they wind up going in that direction. They have the hardest schedule in the entire NFL. Let me get up and go, which is brought, and he focused on some quarterbacks, so let's do ours. Mike T, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much pressure is J.J. McCarthy under this season?
9, Greedy. With that said, I think he's going to deliver, but when you look at Sam Darnold leaving after a great season, they go out and get Ryan Kelly, Will Freeze, draft Donovan Jackson. Oh, by the way, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, all the pieces are in place for this team to win right now in the next 10 minutes. He has no time for a little, grace period. A lot of pressure, and I think he'll deliver.
So we sort of slugged it out is much too strong a word, but Kimberly Martin and I really disagreed on this yesterday, where she was saying you have to have patience with the young quarterbacks and you can't. And my take on it was much more similar to yours. Is it unfair to say you've never taken an NFL snap in your life and now you need to be the quarterback of a Super Bowl caliber team? Maybe it's unfair, but life is sometimes unfair. This team made the decision to move away, as you said, from a quarterback who won them 14 games. Any regression reasonably is going to fall at the feet of the quarterback.
Listen, Kevin O'Connell had an opportunity this offseason to address the quarterback situation if he didn't feel comfortable. Aaron Rodgers was out there. Like, he had an opportunity, but he said, no, J.J. McCarthy is my guy. Like, I'm ready to put this thing in and let's get going.
J.J. McCarthy doesn't have to go out there and be Captain Kirk. He doesn't have to save this organization. That's the difference. All he has to do is not mess it up, folks. When you look at the infrastructure,